there's a tendency to just look forward to the Europa League, the semi-final. Rightly so, I get it. Can't wait. And I mean, Gio had asked a question the other day, do you find yourself more pinning your hopes on that? Should we concentrate on that? And I think he was just playing devil's advocate and asking the question. But I think we've seen this weekend exactly why. The league is still a real viable route for us into Europe next season. And I say this by doing a video, and I'll get it up as soon as I can, the video that is, after Tottenham have just really laboured to a draw against Brentford. Brentford are in good form. Brentford are playing well at the moment. But even at the end, I thought Brentford had a really good chance to win it with Tony. He just missed just a bit wide at the end, wasn't he? But mind you, so was Harry Kane with his overhead kick. But I still thought at points in the game, it looked like Brentford were going to win it. If you back that up with the performance against Brighton, then they ain't looking so clever. And I think there was a lot of people ready to herald Antonio Conte coming in at Tottenham as curing all Tottenham's problems. I think he's a good manager. I think he will sort a lot out. I think he'd probably be a relative success there. But they still look like Tottenham to me, which is basically the streaky and inconsistent team they've been the last few years. I think Conte come in, he got a lift out of them. Then they had a little dip. He threw a tantrum, basically, didn't he? They picked up their form a little bit, and now they've had a dip again. Well, that's very Tottenham. I'm not seeing any massive change there from them. I'm certainly not seeing anything in them that suggests they're going to win all their remaining games or anything like it. I think they'll win some, I think they'll lose some, I think they'll draw some. If they do that, which they will, that leaves an opening for somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that's fourth. I think Arsenal have got that wrapped up. Just having watched what they've done against Manchester United today, they look good enough, they look competent enough. That being said, Man United's are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. But Arsenal, you beat Man U, you beat Chelsea, which are their last two games, which are obviously very different to losing to Brighton and drawing against Brentford, which are obviously Tottenham's. You have to anticipate and expect that Arsenal will get fourth place. But it's all still to play for in the league for us. We've got to keep our eye on Wolves massively. They kick off tomorrow. I think they're playing Burnley, same time as us, 2 o'clock. The same time we play Chelsea. But Chelsea's become a massive game, and just for the pure and simple reason that Tottenham can be caught. But more importantly, and I say more importantly because they're closer to us, Manchester United can be caught. And sort of must be caught, really. I think it's really important. I did the video about Declan Rice in the week. I don't want to keep going on about it. I said then I'd sort of like to draw a line under it. I did certainly believe at the time that I didn't think we needed to go through the whole summer of speculation around him. I think he'll stay. I think David Moyes wants him to stay, and David Moyes has got the final say on things. That's it. Good. Let's just leave it. But there's one thing that will really cement, because as I mentioned, Man City won't be able to afford him and Haaland. Chelsea probably won't be able to afford him this year at least. Liverpool aren't really in for him. That leaves Manchester United. If they finish below West Ham, it just ain't happening. I mean, why would he? If he wants to win trophies, you wouldn't go to Manchester United, maybe in 2 or 3 seasons. But anyway, so I think us finishing above them is very important for lots of reasons. But I do look at it and think, well, this is a good route for us into Europe. It's a viable route, obviously. And I don't want to look at the Europa League as a bonus, by the way, because I think we can win that. And great, if we get the Champions League, fantastic. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something very, very special? But it brings us to I do just want to touch on, the battle with Man United and Tottenham and what's going on there in just a bit. But what comes into play really is we have to do our bit now. I don't think we made it easy for ourselves in the way we've performed. Funny, I've mentioned Brentford, against Burnley. We performed better against Burnley, but it wasn't the result that we wanted. But now it's really down to David Moyes to try and shuffle the pack a little bit and create some defensive solidity. Because I think we can score. I don't see an awful lot's changed in that aspect for us. I still think Declan Rice can do his drives forward. I still think Antonio can be a menace and give their defence problems, particularly if they've got an injury crisis at the moment. Not quite as bad as ours, but they've got a little one. Injury crisis, that is. I still think Bowen's a massive threat. I think Lanzini will come and join the attack. I think all that stuff, I think we're going to be a threat from set plays. Dawson's still more than capable of scoring. So I think our attacking threat, our ability to score goals remains. It's really what David Moyes can do in terms of shoring it up at the back for us. And he might not have the personnel in terms of his first choice defenders or second choice or even third choice defenders. But we do have a system. We do have a system that's been worked on throughout, and we do have a sort of mode of playing that can be quite stingy. Now, I am more than aware that these comments can come and bite me on the arse when I was about to say we tend not to get a thrashing. And I think that's a large part down to how good the individuals are, but I think more than that, it's down to how well drilled the unit are. We are a tough team to break down, there's no doubt about it. And before I go any further, this video is sponsored by the Onefootball app. You can download that same app by clicking on the link below or scanning that QR code up there. The Onefootball app will have all of the latest Premier League news and everything I'm discussing about, well, everybody's trying to qualify for Europe, basically, aren't they? It'll have everything from our Europa League campaign. It'll have lots of transfer stuff, lots of stuff on Declan Rice, lots of stuff on the injury crisis. Basically, as soon as you sign up, and the app is free, by the way, just click on it, say, I support West Ham United, and it'll put all the West Ham stories into one place for you. And you can also follow individual tournaments like the Premier League or like the Europa League, hopefully. Not for much longer, because hopefully, only got, 3 more games. That'll do us. Anyway, check it out down below. That is the Onefootball app in the link underneath this screen. So, what's David Moyes going to do? I've got a feeling it's going to be Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's going to play. I think he's going to play in central defence. You had I'm sure you all know by now, Elise played for the under-23s. And I think the suspicion is that if he played for the under-23s and he's only captained them, then he is unlikely to start for the first team. I feel a bit sorry for him. I feel a bit bad for him. Don't get me wrong, not so bad that I want David Moyes to do the right thing. If David Moyes is of the absolute belief that his best defence doesn't include Elise, then I'm all for whatever David Moyes wants to do, okay? If it works, that's great. He knows a lot more about football than I do. Sees his players in training. The reason I feel a little bit bad for Elise is because, as I mentioned before, if he can't get into the team when Zuma's out, when Ogbonna's out and when Diop's out, then you would suggest come next season when we probably bought another central defender, he ain't really ever getting in the team. And it sounds harsh, but it does sort of seem like the truth. It don't get in now, when are you going to get on? It reminds me of a time in Moyes' first stint where the forwards were dropping like flies. The only person on the bench was Hugo, and he still decided to throw a midfielder up top. I don't know if you remember at all during his first stint, Mark Noble running around at centre forward in one of the games. I'm not sure if that was the same game, but you just get the impression, you think, mate, you're just not going to get used at all. Bit of a shame, but as I say, without being nasty, if we get the results, whatever David Moyes does is going to be right, isn't it? I wouldn't write the Chelsea game off. I wouldn't say they're there for the taking. I think that's too much because they're a really good team and they can cause us all manner of problems. That being said, we can cause them problems as well. And in many respects, in terms of the league, they've sort of got nothing to play for. And because they're nowhere near the top two, and they're sort of better than... They've got 2 or 3 games in hand over Arsenal, plus I think 3 points in hand over Arsenal. They're not going to finish 5th. They're basically going to finish 3rd. If they were really unlucky, they'd finish 4th. But whatever. They've got Champions League for next season. And when you look at the sort of undercurrent of instability around the club, when you look at the fact that there are unhappy players, where there's players looking to leave, players out of contract, don't even know who the owner's going to be, don't even know who the manager will be next season, probably will be Tuchel, but you can't say for definite. Let's be fair, you wouldn't put your house on it. Bearing in mind what's happened at Chelsea, you wouldn't turn around and go, yeah, here goes the keys to my house. I guarantee Tuchel will be the next season. Nobody knows. There's uncertainty there. I don't know. I think this is possibly a good time to play Chelsea. As far as Chelsea's concerned, plus the few injuries that they've got, it's probably a bad time for us to play them, bearing in mind we've got an injury crisis as well. But I think the sum of our parts, we are greater than the sum of our parts. That is a feature of David Moyes' team. I think we can do it. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. I'm not approaching it with any sort of nerves or any sort of trepidation. Should be a good one. 3 games going on at the same time. Actually, let me just have a little look while I'm on the computer there. If I've got this right, so we got 52 points, Man United got 54. We go above Man United. We've got to be careful about Wolves. Wolves have got 49, we've got 52, but they've played a game less. We need to keep ahead of Wolves. We really do. But looking at the fixtures, Brighton against Southampton, Burnley against Wolves, Chelsea, West Ham, and the later game is obviously Liverpool, Everton. Doesn't concern us at all. If we win, it just puts pressure on everyone. It puts pressure on Tottenham, and it puts pressure on Manchester United massively. And let's be fair, Manchester United at the moment probably don't want any more pressure. They really don't. That would put us on 55 points. Tottenham are on 58. This ain't over at all. I don't think we can get fourth. I really don't. I do not think Arsenal capitulate. But how remarkable would it be, as I say, let's put Europe to one side for a second. How remarkable would it be if we back-to-back qualify for Europe? I tell you what, looking at some of the teams, and looking at Leicester today, play out a draw with Aston Villa, and look at Everton, the sort of mess that they're in, and some really good teams, and even Southampton at some points this season have been lauded as the way forward, and their manager was going to be the next one for the Man United job. Actually, it's quite impressive what West Ham have done 2 seasons in a row here. Actually, we are still up there. We are still battling it out. We are sort of, we're sort of clinging on a little bit due to the frailties in the squad, certainly due to how thin the squad is. But we're still there. And there's a resilience this team, and whilst we're still in there, right up until we're mathematically out of the contention for European competition, you have to assume we're still in contention for European competition.